Hamasawa.
Yagami-san.
Ah,
Yeah.
Um... Yes.
nah.
Well...
Huh? Hey. I see.
Yes.
Yagami-san.
Huh?
Yeah. Hey!
Kento-kun.
So... So actually,
Amasawa.
If I were to guess,
Gotcha.
um,
Hmm?
well,
Fucking babies! What's with the weak-ass jabs? Swing like you're going in for the kill! Yes, sir! Oh, you're the goddamn dregs of society! You want to claw your way to the top, you gotta train like it's life or death! Now kill him! Mutilate this worthless son of a bitch! Huh? Who the hell are you?
Who's the boss around here?
You're looking at him. Go Todoroki, president of Todoroki Boxing Gym.
Nice to meet you. I'm Takayuki Yagami. I'm interested in joining your gym.
You want to join up? We'll see. What are your priors?
Sorry?
I'm asking what kind of priors you got. Burglary, assault? Don't tell me. You're a murderer.
No. I don't have any priors.
What? So you're ex-Yakuza then? Who'd you wreck? Kojo? Omi?
I've never been in any family. I just came here to learn how to box.
Are you for real? Listen, pal. For your own good, get out of here. My gym's nothing but bad apples. Ex-cons, ex-yakuza. Real killer shit. Some soft civvy hops in that ring. They leave here in a body bag. So get lost, you marshmallow fuck!
Excuse me.
You. The hell? Piss off!
Hey.
You.
Nah.
Yagami!
Nope.
What's that? Drop dead!
Here we go.
Fight like your life depends on it! Still want a piece of this? Is that it? Put some fire in it! Is that it?
Hey.
Give it to him! Yagami!
If I have this right,
You! Yep.
nah.
Yagami!
Here we go.
Bring him up top! Get him up top! Down!
Yes.
One, two, three, four!
Still got some fight in you?
Keep your eyes forward! Get him up top! Keep your eyes forward! Get him up top! Keep your eyes forward! Down!
Yes.
One, two, three, four, five, six.
Oh, eager for more.
Keep it up! Stop! Stop! A winner! IWD Yagami! You. You might as well fucking quit. Drop dead.
Hey. Hey.
Huh. No.
Huh?
Piss off!
Nah.
Kenya?
Coach, I want to spar.
Not happening.
Why not? When I pay my dues, everyone else gets to spar, so I don't know why.
I said not happening!
Shadowboxing and focus mitts aren't enough, Coach. You won't even let me enter any tourneys.
Can it, dipshit? What's your deal? You've been suspended so long you forgot?
Come on, Coach. When are you gonna let that go? Just let me box already.
Shut up! You don't box worth shit anyway.
Come on, I don't care who. Someone just spar with me. What, none of you up for it?
Hey, Oshikiri-kun, was it?
Yeah, who are you?
Yagami. Just joined up today. Looks like you were having trouble finding someone to spar. Wanna go a few rounds?
With you? Aren't you like super new?
Yeah, but I think I'd be decent at it. I gave Iwashita a pretty good one earlier.
Iwashita-san. This guy any good?
Yeah. I'd say so.
You sure did. I'm gonna really give it to you.
You can try if you like.
Hey, Yagami! The hell are you doing?
Coach, I'm begging you here. I'll start getting rusty if I don't do something. I've gotten a lot better. Won't be anything like last time, I swear. You know I have to keep getting stronger. Coach, please.
You know what? Fine. Get in there. If I catch one whiff of it going sideways, I'm calling it! You hear me?
Yeah, I hear ya.
What are you? Don't worry. I'll give it back to you after this. I'm sure it's bugged, and we wouldn't want anyone listening in now, would we?
We'll take a few laps around the block and then drop you back off at the hospital. Sorry, but we just need a bit of your time.
Very well. Who are you people?
We're just local detectives, but Kitakata-sensei is an acquaintance of ours. We know about Mitsuru-kun, and we know that 5 years ago, a man named Shinya Kawai mysteriously disappeared and died.
I have no idea what you're saying.
But you do. I know how this must come across right now, so I assure you, we aren't the ones posing a threat.
Fine. What is it you want, then?
All I want is the truth, in your own words, about Shinya Kawai, and how you carried out his murder.
You're mistaken. I didn't do it.
The other day you received a call from Kitakata-sensei, didn't you? He goes by the name Koana now, and works as a handyman in Ijincho. He made that call because we needed to confirm something.
Confirm what?
Whether or not you were being watched by public security.
Public security, you say?
As it turns out, you are. Your cell phone is bugged. It can even use GPS to trace who's on the other end of the line. That kind of trace is only possible with cooperation from the cellular providers. Unless you're public security, who could pull something like that off in secret. They want to hit you where you're vulnerable. And that's what you are now after Koana. Do you understand, Kusamoto-san? You must really be something special. You were never in this job for yourself. It fell into your lap as your predecessors fell like dominoes. That's why you don't owe anyone anything. You're free of constraints. And Mitsuru-kun's tragedy even gained you public sympathy on top of it. Combine all that with a capable bureaucrat like you, there's no telling what you could accomplish. You're cleaning up house, tackling the revolving door problems. Things you know are the right moves, but with no regard for the consequences. I understand even the cabinet gauges your opinion, since you have so much public support. But I think that's also made you some enemies. Most likely whoever's holding public security's leash.
I have more than a few enemies. I'm well aware of that. And I have no doubt public security would comply with them. To be quite frank, public security only exists to maintain the status quo. The establishment is made up of various powers which control politics and finance. But naturally, each branch has its own agendas, goals, ideas of justice, which leads to all sorts of issues and hindrances, which you call constraints. The more individuals who make up society, the more unavoidable that is.
Are you implying it's public security's job to loosen those constraints?
There's more to it than that. The world we live in requires all kinds of value systems to coexist, even in chaos. But if you loosen the constraints too far, the fall of the state is inevitable. In that regard, public security's role is to stabilize and maintain the state, even while bound by constraints. In other words, the constraints of these powers are precisely what are protected by public security. So the fact that I am not caught up in all that does, indeed, make me something of a pesky foreign object.
A pesky foreign object. I see. So to these establishment people, you're something to be excised.
I guess there's bullying among adults in high places too.
Yeah. Now we know why they were looking for any kind of weakness in you. And that's when they turned the spotlight on Shinya Kawai's disappearance. An event that was triggered by Akihiro Ihara's case. You know the one, I presume.
Yes.
An active duty policeman exacted revenge on the bully who drove his son to suicide. Your enemies must have heard that and thought to themselves, what would Reiko Kusamoto have done to her son's bully? I'm guessing that's what prompted public security to make their move. As the details of Ihara's case came to light, a group of thugs calling themselves RK started looking for Shinya Kawai, all to find out that he was kidnapped 5 years ago, probably killed.
I never did anything out of revenge.
Even after finding out Kawai disappeared, public security still had to verify it. But if they found out you were involved, that'd be a win for them. They'd finally know Reiko Kusamoto's weakness.
How long are you going to keep talking?
As public security figured out, the bullying cases involving Toshiro Ihara and your son share a common link. That link being Sawa-sensei. She was Mitsuru-kun's classmate and Toshiro Ihara's teacher. Not only that, she was also linked to Ihara's murder victim, Mikoshiba. She was his master teacher. So, not long after the murder, RK came to Ijincho and broke into her home. That must have been when they got Kawana's name out of her. I think Sawa-sensei suspected that Kawana was involved in Mikoshiba's murder. Then Soma steps in, with his professional interrogation skills, to beat and scare her into spilling everything. Kusamoto-san, you knew she was killed, right? Kawana should have told you over the phone.
Wait, are you not one of his colleagues? He said he wouldn't cause me any trouble, and that he would never call me again.
Kawana and I are competitors on a temporary ceasefire. We're not colleagues. Has anybody from public security contacted you? Have you been approached by any strangers?
I have my suspicions.
What are their names? I imagine what they wanted was to exploit your weakness to control you. Because if all they wanted was to eliminate you, some kind of accident would be easily arranged.
Yes. I suppose you're right.
Do you have any idea what these people are after? And do you mind sharing?
What they want is control of the pension fund, which is under the Health Ministry's jurisdiction.
Pension fund?
An independent agency within the ministry manages the National Pension Fund. It's taxpayer funded, and it's worth 160 trillion yen.
What?
And certain groups want to take bigger risks with that money in order to generate more profit. In other words, they want the health ministry to use taxpayer money to gamble. They believe that's the only way to rebuild Japan's faltering economy and secure the future of this country.
I mean, would it work?
Of course, if the gamble actually pays off. But if we lost the gamble, then we wouldn't be able to guarantee anything for the citizens of this country in their golden years. That's why the health ministry manages those funds conservatively, even if it means the returns are lower.
Okay. I'm starting to understand now.
You do? Don't leave me in the dust, Yagami-san.
To be able to gamble all this taxpayer money to save the economy, they need a change of management. And here's Kusamoto-san, head of the office, and she's beyond the control of even the ministers. Her position has the power to take action, to override the way the pension fund is managed. But not only does Kusamoto-san have the power, she has the support of the people. If a new vice minister were to try it, they'd be stopped cold by the constraints.
So that's why they wanted to find her weakness and exploit it?
Exactly. And if the 160 trillion yen gamble were to fail, they could blame the whole thing on Kusamoto-san anyway.
Okay. Wow. 160 trillion.
I'm guessing they've already contacted you about it?
That's an assumption.
How's your son doing now?
He could wake up any minute now. Of course, that's been true for the last 13 years.
I see.
We transferred him to Toto University Hospital just this year, hoping they could spur his recovery. But it turns out they don't do anything much different from the previous hospital. All I can do is wait.
I have to ask you about Shinya Kawai. You killed him 5 years ago. With your own hands, didn't you? I understand what your feelings must be towards Kawai, but was that really the only answer?
If you've spoken to Kitakata-sensei, then you must know about the video of how Mitsuru was treated.
I do.
Aside from Kawai, the other students pretended like nothing happened. They took no responsibility. They put on their sad faces, and they came to visit Mitsuru at the hospital. But looking back on it now, I don't think they really wanted Mitsuru to wake up. In fact, that's what they were checking on. And what did I do? I bowed my head and thanked them. It was only later that Kitakata-sensei showed me the video. That's when I knew that those kids going unpunished was wrong.
And your solution was to pull them into the quagmire? Make them accomplices in murdering Kawai?
If you already know so much, what more do you need to ask?
I get it now. Let me reiterate. We are not your enemy.
Then please, let me go.
Anything you want me to tell Kawana?
I do. He needs to run. Far away. Public security has their sights on him. His capture is not a question of if, but when. He's in danger if he remains in the country. And once public security has him, they will extract everything he knows.
You mean he'd be tortured?
Yes. Somewhere well beyond the public eye. No one can withstand what they do. He'd tell them everything. And as for me,
They would expose your vulnerability, making you their pawn.
most likely, they'd gamble away the taxpayers' money, and I'd never purge the corruption in the health ministry.
I get that. But what does it matter?
What?
Because in my opinion, you need to turn yourself in, Kusumoto-san.
You want me to admit to manslaughter? You think I killed a real man? I say he was less than one. Shinya Kawai. He was little more than a subhuman brute. And you saw it. You saw what that brute did to my son. I hated Kitakata-sensei. He was an incompetent teacher. An idiot who turned a blind eye to Mitsuru being tortured. But that changed when he suddenly showed up 8 years later. And then he showed me that video. He said, every bully in that video, they deserved to be punished. That it was the only way to get closure.
You took him up on it? But you of all people should have known better.
True. You're right about that. I struggled with it quite a bit. It's an unconscionable act, no matter how deep your animosity runs. But Kitakata-sensei's words hung on. I couldn't get them out of my head. I saw for myself. I went to Kamurocho, where I'd heard Kawai was working, at a girls' bar. So you know, after Mitsuru jumped that day, Kawai came to me in tears to apologize. I hadn't seen him in all that time. If he'd frozen in place when he saw me, if he'd been the slightest bit apologetic, I might have been able to stay my hand.
I take it he didn't do any of that.
Right. He didn't even recognize my face. And that's hardly the worst part of it, actually. When he saw me, he took me for some bawdy cougar on the prowl for young men. If you've got the cash, I'll show you a good time, he said. All those tears he'd shed years earlier were a farce. But I knew that. Deep down, I'd already known that. That was it. That was the moment I lost all doubt about killing him. And as for those other kids who bullied Mitsuru, they should thank me they didn't share his fate. But that's why. That's why I don't feel like I have any sins to atone for. Every night I pray he will wake up. What more can you ask me to endure?
Kawana said something similar. But think you can repeat all that? This time say it to her.
Isn't that... Sawa-san?
You and Kawana can congratulate yourselves. You got vengeance on a monster. But what you're choosing not to see is that your actions had consequences for her. It's vicious. I've seen this before. Justice for one at the cost of another. Someone innocent always pays the price. I won't just sit here and watch as history tries to repeat itself. This phone isn't being traced by anyone. So, if you have a change of heart, just give me a call before you turn yourself in. That's all I had to say. We're back.
Right here okay, Yagami-san?
Yeah. I'm gonna go talk to Kawana. Need to tell him I met with Reiko Kusamoto.
He's gonna be pissed, you know? He's gonna try to rip you a new one.
That's true. So you might want to sit this one out.
You sure? 'Cause I'll totally take you up on that.
Well, look who we have here. Haven't seen your mug in a while.
It's only been 2 or 3 days. Where's Kawana?
How should I put this? Would you freak out if he was right behind you?
You know, this kind of shit is why you get on my nerves.
Couldn't we have done this by phone?
I just came from seeing Reiko Kusamoto. I told her to turn herself in for murdering Kawai 5 years ago.
You what?
What did she have to say about that?
But she had no sins to atone for.
Of course not. Look, what do you think you're doing? Her part in this is done. Don't drag her back into it.
This isn't yours to finish. You would just let Sawa-sensei stay collateral damage. How do you think her folks feel? They probably think you killed their daughter. And they don't know why, or if justice will be served. Do they have to suffer like that? All without even knowing the truth? Would Sawa-sensei want that? You talk about justice, but she keeps getting left out. You aren't even trying when it comes to her.
Say whatever you want, but if you cause Kusamoto-san any more pain, I will never forgive you.
That's exactly why I didn't tell you I was going to meet her.
Listen, Yagami. She hides it well, but she's never gotten over the fact Mitsuru tried to jump to his death. And she's not sure how to feel about killing Kawai. Unlike me.
If she was anything like you, I would have pushed her harder to confess.
There's no evidence that she killed Kawai. He simply vanished from Kamurocho, and the police didn't even know about it. Besides, there's no case without a corpse. Point being, she'll never be charged. Even if she did turn herself in, the police wouldn't know what to do with her.
Don't think for a second that you're getting a pass here. You've killed, what, 7 people now? Do you even hesitate anymore?
You got proof? Running around making baseless accusations. You sure you were a real fucking lawyer?
My colleagues in Kamurocho are getting ready to appeal Ahara's case. Your actions are going to be put under a microscope.
I wouldn't even call that bad news. I want the world to know their bullies are getting what they're due. And by then, I'll probably be going by a different name, maybe even a different look.
You're just gonna keep doing this? Did Sawa-sensei sacrifice mean nothing to you?
Is that the only thing keeping you around? Truth be told, I don't think exposing everything is even in Sawa's best interest.
What?
Sawa-kun herself felt guilty. I just sent you the proof.
What is this? An audio file?
After Ahara-san lost in court, she called me. I recorded our conversation.
Toshiro-kun came running to the roof. His face was pretty swollen. And a few minutes later, a student named Mikoshiba came up looking for him. I'll never forget the fear I saw in Toshiro-kun's face. He told me about everything. The teasing, the beatings, the theft. How nobody was on his side. And yet, I had to deny all this in front of an entire courtroom. They said there was no hope, that I was the only witness with no proof whatsoever. Believe me, I never wanted to do that.
Sawa-kun's testimony in court was false, and she was racked with guilt over it.
And your first thought was to record it? When she was at her most vulnerable?
Yes. And then I played it for Ihara-san. He had the right to know the real reason his son killed himself.
All you did was light the fires of vengeance in Ahara's heart because you didn't want to be alone.
You know, I've heard that bullying is almost instinctive. That's why people who do it never stop. I mean, think about it. Would you stop cleaning a toilet just because it'll get filthy again? Somebody's always got to get his hands dirty.
And that somebody's gonna be you?
If it means I can prevent another Mitsuru Kusamoto, yes, I will keep killing. These bastards who prey on the defenseless must be punished for all to see. I wish the law would do its job. Because deep down, I don't want to do any of this.
I understand what you're saying, but you're taking it too far. Just stop, Kawana.
If you really want to stop me, you're gonna have to kill me. And call it justice.
I thought you guys were gonna start another fight. It was a bitch cleaning up the mess last time.
Next time I go up against him, it won't be just a few scratches.
Well, when that time comes, take it anywhere but here.
Hello?
It's Shirosaki. Are you in Yokohama again, Yagami-san?
Yeah. Is this about Ahara's trial?
Yes, regarding the appeal. The prosecution says they want to consult with us. Off the record.
Off the record? What do you mean?
They want to discuss with the judge beforehand whether or not Ahara's murder footage is admissible evidence. The video has gone viral, of course, and nobody's really sure how to handle it.
Is the prosecution really gonna hold the line on it being a deepfake?
That's quite possible. Which is why we're meeting today in the courthouse conference room. I'm sorry for the short notice, but could you join us?
Of course. I'll be there.
Thank you very much. No need to rush, there's still plenty of time. Just be sure you're there, please.
So what you're saying is, Yui Mamiya was not a victim of sexual battery, but rather she conspired with Akihiro Ehara to fake a murder alibi. We've already closed the book on that ordeal, yet now the defense wants to write a sequel?
To establish the defendant's motive in the harassment, we need to bring the Mikoshiba murder to light. The groping itself was staged. It was all part of their script, right down to the guilty verdict.
It sounds like the defendant has some strong hostility for the court.
Ehara got the court to accept his murder alibi by twisting the legal process to his own ends. It was easy to miss, because at the time, Mikoshiba's body hadn't been found yet. But we have to admit that we all got duped.
We? You're not even a lawyer. You're a detective.
Yagami-sensei still has a license to practice.
Forget what I said if it offended you, prosecutor.
My superiors always told me that in his youth, your Genda-sensei was a difficult man. He'd insist his clients were innocent, persisting even in the face of conviction. He was hostile to the prosecution, and was known to fraternize with Kamurocho Yakuza. But it was his sheer disrespect that made my boss hate him.
Damn. You sure know an awful lot about Genda-sensei.
Because I honestly can't say I like him. He treated me like a child when I was starting out.
I'll tell you this, there's no higher praise for the defense than being called difficult by the prosecution.
Now, if we can get back on track, can we confirm the defendant himself has agreed to the appeal?
Yes.
But if Ehara really committed the murder, why would he agree to his alibi being scrutinized?
Ehara's objective isn't to get away with murder.
Then what is he after?
Making a mockery of the legal system.
Then it'd be best not to pay him any attention.
And you'd be right. If your priority is saving face in front of the court rather than preserving fairness in the law.
You've got a real attitude.
Sorry I'm a bit late.
So, with this appeal, the defense wants to assert the defendant's innocence by establishing his guilt in a murder.
Wait, before we go on, who is this?
He's from the Metropolitan Police. Considering Ehara was on the force, he has a vested interest here. He's not here to participate, don't worry.
The police can't afford to be embarrassed any further. We need to send the right message to the public.
Can we have your name, please?
The name is Bando.
And your title?
Think of me as a kind of police coordinator. But don't let me interrupt the proceedings. Forget I'm even here. Please, continue.
So much for this meeting being off the record.
Allow me to restate the prosecution's opinion to the judge. We cannot allow the murder footage to be used as new evidence in Akihiro Ehara's appeal. It's nothing but an online hoax of unknown origin. You can't just casually introduce that into court.
Indeed.
Furthermore, if Ehara bears such hostility towards the court, the footage might end up being a trap.
Trap?
Yes. What if the next viral video proves the original footage was doctored? What if the proceedings have already begun by then? Do we drop the appeal and call it a day? We cannot allow a man like Ehara to swing the court around by its nose at his whims. With that in mind, I believe Ehara's conviction should be upheld and enforced. Would the defense care to comment? Did you think any of this through before filing this appeal?
Yes. We aim to prove the defendant's innocence no matter what your objections may be.
And what about you?
Ehara has to atone for Mikoshiba's murder. I can't look the other way while a killer evades his sentence.
Come now. Is that why you're appealing? If so, you're barking up the wrong tree.
Yagami-san, I understand how you feel, but being innocent of sexual battery isn't guilt for Mikoshiba's murder.
What?
We're only appealing the groping case here, so...
Oh, right. Then,
What is this nonsense?
We will prove Ehara's innocent of sexual battery. We have all the evidence we need.
Huh. You mean the murder video? You're no better than the public. You believe everything you read online. Is there any real proof that the video isn't fake? Or are you trying to set a precedent for court sentences to hinge on dubious videos?
True, the prosecution might have a point here, Yagami-san.
What?
The murder footage may not have shown Ehara...
Oh, right.
What is this nonsense?
Ehara's guilty verdict was wrong. We don't think there was enough evidence at the first trial to result in that verdict.
There was fiber from the victim's underwear found on Ehara's hand.
That was a trick. It was set up with cooperation from the victim.
There is no evidence it was a trick. Are you saying Yui Mamiya and Ehara met beforehand? Is there proof of that? Was there perhaps any security footage we didn't see?
No, the station erases the footage from their cameras after a few days if there's no need to keep it.
Right. But if there's even a chance Ehara and Mamiya were a team, the underwear fiber proves nothing. What were the other deciding factors? Security footage? The smartphone videos we kept seeing on TV? Those don't prove the crime either, because there was a huge time gap in them.
What?
We've done enough legwork to know. Did you walk around the site with your own 2 feet, prosecutor?
Well, no. But I have been to Shinjuku Station plenty of times.
Then you must know they have a mountain of security cameras covering every angle. But if you went there to look carefully, you'd find there are some blind spots. That's Ehara running, while Mamiya chases after her. It seems as though the whole chase is recorded, but this area in dotted lines is a blind spot no camera saw. That's the momentary gap in time where Ehara and his double switched places.
The victim was running right behind Ehara. She would have noticed if they swapped places right in front of her eyes.
Oh, but she knew about the swap all along. They were all in on it from the start.
Can you prove that?
We don't have to prove the defendant is innocent, Takano-san.
What?
All we have to prove is that the evidence provided by the prosecution at the trial was insufficient to determine guilt. Because that's the role of a defense counsel.
Indeed it is.
If the prosecution can't debunk any and all possibility that the train groping was a put-up job, then it's innocent until proven guilty.
Then the defense should have brought it up the first time. Although I doubt Shirosaki-sensei actually believed in the defendant's innocence herself.
The guilty verdict at the trial was orchestrated by the defendant. It was our error not to have seen it at the time, but it would be another not to correct ourselves now.
Stop being so dramatic. He's just a subway perv.
That is a statement I cannot abide. The law can't give the impression that a false charge is permissible, even for a subway perv.
Right. I take that back. I misspoke.
I do believe this case is worth a trial in the appeal court. If the court was misled by a hostile defendant, then only the court can correct it.
Thank you very much.
However, I too have seen Ihara-san's murder footage. I believe it would be difficult to introduce it as evidence in this trial. Therefore, I cannot allow it to be brought into the courtroom at this time.
Sorry, son. Think you got this covered?
Huh?
I'll poke my head in at the office later.
Very well, we'll be expecting you.
Bando-san, was it? From public security?
I don't recall saying my department. But yeah, that's right.
Do you know Reiko Kusamoto? The vice minister at the Ministry of Health?
Of course.
Any particular reason she's under constant surveillance?
A rather bold question, isn't it?
It's just you and me here.
I see you know how to cut to the chase, Yagami-sensei.
Ihara's trial can't be that important to you. So I have to figure I'm the reason you showed up. You want to know where Kawana is, don't you? Were you finally forced to get off your ass because nobody else can get eyes on him?
Kawana, otherwise known as Yu Kitakata, is wanted on suspicion of murder. If you know where he is, please do tell.
Wanted for murder? Huh. Because you know, I thought it was RK acting on your orders that killed Sawa-sensei. You think you can hide that fact forever? Even the cops in the field have their suspicions.
Do they? Well, the cubicle workers always resent the corner offices. Officers in the field complain about their superiors. I did the same thing back in my day.
Then why did you use thugs as your pawns instead of officers? Is that how Sawa-sensei got roped into this?
I'm afraid I'm not following.
You knew it was going to be a dirty job from the beginning. That's why you couldn't use anybody on the force. Or maybe you just weren't able to find an underling you could fully trust.
That's a good one.
Public security's only tricks are surveillance and call tracing. You leave the dirty work to the thugs.
That may be true, but it's enough to crush the likes of you.
I'm gonna ask just in case. Where is Soma now?
Hand over Kawana to me and there will be no more victims.
What?
Do you have a reason to protect him? I already know he's going around executing bullies. He's a disturbance to public order.
But he wasn't the one who killed Sawa-sensei.
I didn't come here to argue. I came to issue an ultimatum.
Yagami-san, was everything okay back there? That man, Bondo, I knew something was off about him. Is he one of the men behind RK?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He was trying to find out where Kawana was.
I see. That reminds me, Hoshino-kun seems to have heard some rumors about RK.
Hoshino-kun, did you pick up what the word is on RK?
Yeah. One of the bosses, Akutsu, came back to Kamurocho yesterday.
He's back?
He's number 2 in the group, isn't he?
Yeah, so he would probably know about Soma. Know where he is?
Well, I'm not sure if you're aware, Yagami-san, but RK owns some of the cabaret clubs in Kamurocho, and Akutsu manages them. If a girl makes a lot of sales, or if she becomes a rising star in the club, Akutsu apparently gives that girl a bonus, personally.
How do you know this stuff, Hoshino-kun?
Our clients come from all walks of life in Kamurocho, cabaret girls included.
So to sum it all up, a popular girl has a chance to meet Akutsu?
Yeah, but this week nobody was getting that chance. Until yesterday. Which is how I figured out Akutsu is back in Kamurocho. He must have been in Yokohama.
Oh, well, that makes sense. But where exactly in Kamurocho is he?
That's the part I don't know. RK bosses never sleep in the same place twice. Gotta keep the cops off their trail.
But despite the risk, Akutsu still reaches out to popular girls.
Hey, I'm not even mad. In fact, I'm up for the challenge.
Awesome, Saori-san. If you can rock the cabaret gig again, you can hook Akutsu.
It'd be an undercover mission to infiltrate RK. Super risky. But damn if I don't want to see Saori-san transform one more time! I can't help it!
What the hell's gotten into you?
Are there any bars we know for sure that RK owns?
There is. You remember Queen Rouge, the place Saori-san snuck into a long time ago? RK recently took over the management there.
Queen Rouge. What about the owner? Still the same guy?
Yep, he's still there. One of the original employees. Only thing is, it used to be a classy spot, but they've cut a lot of corners. The vibe has probably changed a lot.
Really? Well, maybe that means I can afford to go.
Hey, totally! I want to go too!
This is no time to be idiots.
Okay, well, Saori-san, you'll need the whole makeover again. I can take point on that.
No need, I'll be fine.
Huh?
Just the other day, Mari-san and I figured out what kind of makeup goes over well with RK. I'll just go with that.
With Mari? Well, counterpoint, I think a man might know better what men like.
With all due respect, don't judge what you haven't seen.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll leave it to you, Saori-san. Should've just kept my mouth shut.
Believe me, I'm not one to boast, but I'm confident my efforts are in the best interest of the mission.
That's the spirit. With Saori-kun here, Genda Law will have its doors open for another 20 years.
True. And we've got Yagami-san's wisdom, too.
All right, should we get on with the mission?
Let's do this.